Hello and welcome to this astrology video on Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. Are they divine counterparts? Are they twin flames as they themselves say they are or claim to be? We're going to talk about that in this video. It is an astrology video. For everybody out there, it's very important for me to point out, before you put anyone on the twin flame pedestal, especially celebrity couples, please always make sure to check how are they acting. Don't ever forget. I have to say I don't know anything about these people. I saw like one or two movies with her. I saw the Transformer movies. If I ever saw another movie where she starred, then I forgot that I did. I know that one song by him, this twin flame song. Is he a rapper? I don't even know. I personally listen more to rock and metal. Even though I listen to a broad variety of music, I don't really know anything by him. So I don't know how these people act, what they are like in nature. I know that she was supposed to be not too nice, and that's why allegedly she was fired. I don't know. That's something I picked up. But I assume that was way before she met him. And once we meet our divine counterpart, there is a rapid transformation. There is development within us. So before you put anyone on the twin flame pedestal, please make sure, what are these people like? Do they act like divine counterparts? Which means that they must be somewhat awakened. Do they act like an awakened being? And an awakened being means that they realize that they're not better than anybody else. Did these people realize that there is only one soul in this earth and everybody is part of us? Do they treat others with respect, or do they think that they are better than others because of their fame, success, money, wealth they have? Do they act like they are entitled, or do they act like kind, genuine beings that treat others with respect always? This is how you recognize true twin flames, because again, twin flames, it's a very spiritual connection. Twin flames undergo some kind of major transformation, healing, casting away old shadows, all of that. If that did not happen, then those celebrity couples, you think maybe celebrity couples, are definitely not twin flames. Many people think some couples, just because it's romantic, it's love, and they have this great chemistry, and they tell each other they love them and they do it publicly, that it's automatically a twin flame. Or even in other couples, like there's running and chasing and some kind of toxic behavior, people then say, oh yeah, that's because they're twin flames. No, a twin flame is a connection that is bringing a rapid change and growth, and it is a path to enlightenment. So always see how they are acting towards others. Do they now do a lot of charity? Because that is what a true twin flame would do. If they have the name, if they would be in the public, they would use that for good, not for their own benefit, but to help others, because that is part of being enlightened or spiritual means. I come to do my part. I come to help others. I'm not entitled in any way, because entitlement is something that's coming from the ego. But in order to be in union with a divine counterpart, you must have released all of that. So this is a little heads up. This is any celebrity couple, if you think they're divine counterparts or not, how do they act towards other people? Are they decent human people? Not amazing artists, but are they decent human people? So that is something I had to say about them. But again, that is something more general. I don't know if they are. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm not very well known when it comes to celebrity gossip. So I wouldn't know if they have undergone this major transformation and now they're using their name for good. If you're their fans, then you know. Let me know in the comments how they act towards others. Are they entitled, or are they just amazing human beings? And that has even enhanced after they came together. So let me know, let others know who may be here for the astrology part but don't know anything about these people. But now let's start. What are we going to talk about? the content of this video is going to be in 4 sections. First of all, we're going to see what kind of soul connections do they have. And I have to say, this is more a practical approach. It's not a theoretical approach where I explain the theory behind it. I do that in other videos. I have a like 2.5-hour lecture of divine counterparts, different kind of divine counterparts, where I talk about the astrology of different divine counterparts as well. And then I have an entire playlist called Signs of Soul Connections in Astrology. So of course I cannot put anything or everything I talk about in several videos, like an entire playlist, in this one tiny video. So this is the practical approach. If you want to know the theory, please pause, check out the other videos or get back to the other videos. But here, first of all, we're going to see what kind of soul connections do they have, because you can see twin flame energy in astrology. You absolutely can find it, because twin flames, they have yin yang energy, and there's different types of twin flames. There's the split twin flames that often have something in common, and then polar opposites, and then there's the monadic twin flame. They do have yin yang energy, but it plays out differently. But again, I talk about that in other soul connections. Then we can have mirror souls, like I believe Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez are, because they have a lot of sameness. You can check out their video if you want to know more about mirror souls. Then we do have soul twins. They have a lot of trining energy, a lot of the same elements. So we determine what kind of soul connection may they be. Do we find traces about twin flames or not that many? Are they divine counterparts? Do they even have a soul connection? Is it a strong soul connection? That is what we're going to find out more in the second part, the Synastry chart. There we can see if they have aspects that imply fate or long-lasting connections. You need to have certain things in Synastry that show, yes, this is a connection that can last a lifetime. And we do have certain factors in Synastry that do imply, yes, there is fate. After that, we're going to look at the composite chart. What is the energy of the relationship, or what is the birth chart of their relationship? And then we're going to take that composite chart and apply it to each one of their charts individually to see how does the connection influence them. Number 2, we see how do they influence each other. And then here, how does the relationship, the connection itself, influence them individually. So this is what we're going to do. It is going to be a lengthy video, but yes, I like to go in depth. So let's start. So what kind of soul connection do they have, or may they have? So we're going to check their individual energies and then compare them with one another to see if they have yin yang energy going on, or if they would have more like mirror soul, soul twin, twin flame, and if so, which kind of twin flame. I have to say, a soulmate, of course, can be any connection. It's hard to define a soulmate when it comes to your zodiac signs. You would see that more in Synastry, but we're going to analyze, of course, as well. If you're wondering, I don't know, let's say you're in Aries, what is your perfect match if you would have a twin flame? I do have an entire playlist where I go through each sign, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on. Each sign, what would be your soul twin, what would be your mirror soul, what would be your twin flame. But keep in mind, we can never look at it from just one sign. You have to check out different aspects in your chart, the different energies, the sun sign, the moon sign, Venus sign, and so on. But let's start. So what we do see is they both have Taurus energy. They both have the sun in Taurus. And if you watch my playlist about different signs of different soul connections in astrology, you see that is something that is very much in common, that we do have, for example, one person's energy mirrored in the other person's sun, moon, or rising sign. Often we, for example, have one person is a Taurus in sun and the other person would be the AC Taurus or moon in Taurus. Here they do have both the sun and Taurus. So this is something that is not very uncommon. Then we do see she's got the moon in Leo. The opposite sign would be Aquarius, and he's got the moon in the house of Aquarius, so the opposite. And as I said, split twin flames, they often have something in common, like the same sun sign, that is very common. And then they have something that is polar opposite, and here the polar opposition would be, she's got the moon in Leo, and he's got the moon still in the opposite of Leo is Aquarius. So that could be a hint at a twin flame connection. They don't have a lot more of that going on, but at least they do have that could hint at a twin flame connection. You will learn in this video, do I think they're true twin flames or not? But here we can say, yeah, there is a hint already, okay? Then we do have Mercury in the same sign. It's Taurus, which is not surprising because Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, so it can never be far away from the Sun. So if they both have the Sun in Taurus, it's not a big surprise they both have Mercury in Taurus, because Mercury can only be in Taurus or in the sign that is before Taurus, which would be Aries, or in the sign that is after Taurus, or the Sun sign in general. In this case, if it's Taurus, it could be Gemini. So Mercury can only be 1 out of 3 signs, and since they're both Taurus suns, there is a like 1/3% chance that they both would have Mercury in Taurus. Gemini, by the way, also cannot be too far from Taurus. Here you see Gemini is 1 further from Taurus, and here Pisces is 2 away from Taurus, because we do have Aries would be the first house, and then we do have Pisces. Maybe there was some kind of retrograde when he was born, or maybe a retrograde just ended, because Venus also cannot be too far from the Sun, maximum 2 signs away. Then they do have something going on with Mars. She's got the Mars in Capricorn, and he's got Mars in the house of Capricorn, and that is something you find in twin flames or divine counterpart as well. One person has something in a specific sign, in this case Capricorn, and the other person has that same planet either in the same sign or in the same house, not the same house but in the matching house. So he's got it in the 10th house, which would be the Capricorn house. Then Jupiter is not as important because it's a generational planet. The first ones here are important, but they both have Jupiter in the 2nd house, which would be the Taurus house, so the same house. Then Neptune, they got Neptune in Capricorn, Pluto in Scorpio. This is not important because it's a generational planet, and Neptune stays in one sign for many years, and Pluto also stays in one sign for many years. So we cannot go on too much when it comes to that. Then she's got Aries in Aquarius, as you can see here, and he's got Aries in the house of Aquarius. So that is another thing that they do have. One person has a planet, or in this case asteroid, in one sign, and the other person has it in the according house. But what we want to see with Aries and Psyche actually is, and we do have it here as well, I mean, I forgot to make this one bold. This would be even more important, because what we want actually is Aries and Psyche together. Those are twin flames, and it's a good thing when Aries and Psyche are meeting in the same sign. For example, my twin flame and I, one of us, I think it's my Aries, is in Scorpio and his Psyche is in Scorpio. So we like them in a good connection, or we would like them to be in the same sign. And here at least it is something similar. She's got it in Aquarius and he's got it in the house of Aquarius. But it's important also, of course, is Juno. Juno is the asteroid of divine counterparts. It shows you about your divine counterpart, and hers is in Sagittarius. We don't see any Sagittarius in his chart, especially not in the personal planets, but that does not necessarily mean that they're not divine counterparts. For example, I do have Juno in Sagittarius as well, and my twin flame has nothing in Sagittarius, but still it would be a good fit, because Juno in Sagittarius means that your divine counterpart may come from another country. I don't know if they were, I think they were born both in the US, I don't remember, but usually it could be that somebody's coming from a different culture, or it could be that one of them is a celebrity. So Juno Sagittarius could hint that her person is a celebrity, that he is famous, right? Why would Sagittarius be connected to fame? Well, it's connected to Jupiter, and that is the planet of the big, the grand, the over the top. So even somebody with Juno and Leo could attract somebody or have a divine counterpart that could be somewhat in the spotlight, but Sagittarius is even more so. But of course that does not mean that everybody who's Juno and Sagittarius is their divine counterpart is a celebrity. I mean, probably 1/12 of the people in this earth have Juno and Sagittarius, but it could be somebody who is into philosophy as well, somebody who likes to read a lot, somebody who might be a teacher, a professor, or is into higher learning or into religion, very religious. Because all of that is connected to Sagittarius. So you see, even though he has no Sagittarius energy, he might be some of that. He might come, I don't know if he was born in the same culture. I don't know if he is very religious or if he is into philosophy, something like that. But if Juno is in Sagittarius, it shows that her divine counterpart would have some of these traits, even if he may not be Sagittarius. And he's got Juno in Scorpio, which means that his divine counterpart has very much Scorpionic energy. She doesn't have any Scorpio here, but still it does not necessarily mean that they're not divine counterparts, because she may have some traits. Let's see if she has I've got her, let's just look at that really quick. Now she doesn't have a strong 8th house, because that could be strong Scorpio energy, but also if you would have a Pluto connection to like the sun or moon could give you strong Scorpio energy, but she doesn't have strong Scorpio energy. Well, she's got midheaven in Scorpio, but that I wouldn't read too much when it is a relationship, because the midheaven shows you more about your career. Let's see if he has some kind of strong Sagittarius. He's got this in Sagittarius. Does he have a strong 9th house? But he's got the North Node in 9th house, which means that he is in his lifetime trying to connect more with Sagittarius energy. That is somewhat that he is trying to learn. I'm just trying to see if he's got any. Yeah, look, he's got a sextile between the Sun and Jupiter. And Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius, so he does have some connection to Sagittarius energy with this sextile here. But that was a little discourse. Let's go back to where we are right now, which would be here. So yeah, Juno is very important. I'm going to make a video on Juno as well. I haven't yet, but Juno shows you a lot about who is your divine counterpart. And then of course, something I found interesting is the North Node. Look, her North Node is in the 3rd house, which is the Gemini house, which means her South Node automatically is in the 9th house, in the Sagittarius house. And with him, it's vice versa. He's got the North Node in Sagittarius and the South Node in Gemini, which means she wants to learn more about Gemini energy, well, Aries, because it's in Aries, but also Gemini. This is where she's driving to be. She's coming from the 9th house, from Sagittarius energy. And by the way, with nodes, the houses are important because the nodes stay in a sign for 1.5 years. So we have to look at the houses as well. But this is something that's quite interesting. So where he wants to go to Sagittarius. It's where she's coming from. She wants to go to Gemini, or the 3rd house where he's coming from. Which means they each have something and brought it into this world, but the other one wants to learn. So they could be excellent teachers for one another, to be honest. That is a very good thing. That is something that would not surprise me in a divine counterpart connection, if something like this happens. Because that means, yeah, we are amazing teachers. I know exactly what you want to learn because I've been there. I know that already. And you have what I want to learn. So we can really teach one another. Let's get to this chart. Here, I was looking for the elements. And here, with match, this is actually more, I was looking for trining energy. Because trining energy, if you would have a lot of yeses here, we don't. A lot of yeses here could hint, for example, at a soul twin connection, because they have lots and lots and lots of trining energy. Here we see that we both have the Sun and Taurus, and I wrote okay when it comes to match. because it's the same sign. You know, yes would be if it would be the other signs. It would be either Virgo or Capricorn. Why? Because if we are too similar, then, you know, if we share the same sign, then we don't develop that much because we share all of the sameness. Whereas when you get an impulse from another sign, and with Virgo or Capricorn, it would be flowing energy. You see, the earth signs here, they're 120 degrees apart, which would form a trine. You see, it would form a triangle. So this is why it is called a trine. And this is the most harmonious aspects of all of them. And soul twins usually have a very, very, very extremely harmonious connection. And I was talking about this in the video about the soul twins, sorry, about the mirror twins, like the Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez video. If you are too much alike, if you share a lot of the same energy, that can be amazing if you're already, you know, in your strength. If you still have a lot of shadows, then you will attract somebody with the same shadows and you drive each other crazy. So it is good when we connect to someone that gets us, but still they're a little bit different, because we learn, we develop when we are confronted with something that's a little different and not completely the same. This is why I wrote okay here. So it's a good match. This is okay. Then here, Mercury, again we see Earth and Earth, so it's okay, but it's the same Earth sign. Here is Jupiter. Jupiter, unfortunately, is already one of the generational planets, so not as important as those here. Jupiter and Pisces, and he's got in water as well. So we are here and here. So this is a yes, because it's the same element, but a different sign. And then we got the same with Neptune. It's Earth, Earth, but it's both in Capricorn. Pluto, Scorpio, Scorpio, but it's both in water. But as I said, that is not surprising, because if you're born within a couple of years, you most likely share the same sign. Here we're checking for oppositions, because split twin flames have many opposing energies. We saw it earlier that they have it with the sign. You know, was it Leo? She's got the moon in Leo, and he's got it in the house of Aquarius. You see it here. Leo would be here, down here, and Aquarius over here is the polar opposite. So they do have the moon. She's got it in the house of Leo, and he's got it, no, in the sign of Leo. He's got it in the house of Aquarius. It would have been way stronger if he had it in Aquarius and not the house of Aquarius. So they don't have any opposing energies as split twin flames do. Then the monadic twin flames, they have a lot of yin-yang energy. And you see it more here. You see split twin flames, they have a lot of this. They have the fire and air, but always polar opposite. For Aries it would be Libra, for Gemini it would be Sagittarius, and for Leo it would be Aquarius. And then of course you do have with the earth and water signs as well. And the monadic twin flames, they're more like this. They are fire and water. Those are counterparts. And then air and earth. So there is a perfect match for each sign. For example, for Aries, it would be Scorpio. You cannot see it here, unfortunately, because Scorpio is ruled by Aries, but also by Pluto. And unfortunately, only put Pluto in here. So this would be yin-yang. Aries is the masculine aspect of Mars, and Scorpio is the feminine aspect of Mars. But you do see it here with Taurus and Libra. They both are Venus signs. We have the feminine side of Venus here, the yin side, and here the masculine, because it's an odd house. Odd houses are always masculine. Even houses are always feminine. So in monadic twin flames, you see that one, for example, would have the sun in Taurus and the other person would have the sun in Libra. For example, the moon in Virgo, it is ruled by Mercury, and the other person would have the moon in Gemini, so they both have yin-yang Mercury. And here they don't have any yes, because they don't have anything like this going on. We can go through the signs real quick. We got the sun and the moon, those are counterparts, okay? Then we got the two Mercury signs, Gemini and Virgo. We got the two Venus signs, which are Taurus and Libra. The two Mars signs are Aries and Scorpio. Then we got the two Jupiter signs, which are Sagittarius and Pisces. Pisces is co-ruled by Neptune. And then we got the Saturn signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but co-ruled by Uranus. So those are the perfect matches. Here they don't have that, but they do have fire and water. even though it's not the perfect sign. For Leo, I already said it's Cancer, and for Pisces, it would be Jupiter. Both are ruled by, sorry, it would not be Jupiter, it would be Sagittarius, Pisces, Sagittarius. Here they have the element, they got yin-yang element. So this is okay, here, because it's earth and air. You see it here, earth and air. Those are divine counterparts. We got the masculine sign is the air, and earth is feminine. And here fire, masculine, of course, and this is the feminine water. So they don't have any signs for monadic twin flames at all. They have this one thing here with the houses that would hint at a split twin flame connection. So this would be like a hint. It's not strong split twin energy, however. And now we're going to talk about houses. Still, is there some good stuff going on? And we do see a lot of trining houses, which is another thing that we like to see, especially like in the soul twin connections. Trining, I already explained it, is the most harmonious connection, and he's got the sun, she's got the sun in Cancer. This is the 4th house, and in Pisces, so they both have it in a water house. So they have trining houses. The moon in Libra, he's got it in Aquarius, so both air signs, that would be trining houses. Then Mercury, Cancer, Pisces, again 2 water signs, trining houses. Here we got Capricorn. Already said that earlier. She's got Mars in Capricorn. He's got it in the house of Capricorn. Then here they both have Jupiter in the same house. Here again they got Pisces and Scorpio are 2 water signs. It's the same house, as you can see. It's the same sign and trining houses. Here it is the same sign. Here as well. I forgot to write it there. And then Eris, she's got it in Aquarius. He's got it in the not opposite house. Sorry, in the I did it wrong. I wrote opposite house. It's not opposite house. It's the complement. It's the same house. It's the house that is connected. The related house, I should say. Okay, Aries and Aquarius, and he's got it in the related house, 11th house. So looking at that, I wouldn't say they're twin flames. I would say they do have some strong soul connection, complementary energy going on with all of the trining energy. So there is a lot of complementary energy. They do have a couple of okays here. In a true twin flame connection, they have an okay or a yes, even more yeses. And here we do also see that there is a lot same sign, same stuff going on. So yeah, this would highlight that the characters match very well. This is what I would say. They are matching characters because they intuitively get one another. One Taurus would get another Taurus. Somebody with the moon in Leo actually might not get the person with the Aquarius energy, because that is completely opposing energy. That is what I say in split twin flame connections. You have some sameness and you have opposing energy, because then you can learn to balance out the opposing energy. But they get some sameness, and they got a lot of stuff that where I would say, yeah, they do complement each other. Okay, so just based on their charts, I don't think twin flames. And spoiler alert, I already did the rest of the chart because I had recorded this entire video, but unfortunately there was no sound, so I'm doing for the second time. I don't think they're twin flames. They do have some aspects that highlight that it is a fated connection. We're going to talk about that. I completely understand why they think it is a very strong connection, because they have stuff that would hint at that. But this would not highlight twin flame. Nevertheless, it would highlight, yeah, they have a lot of stuff going on that individually that would say, yeah, they're a good match. So if you have already gotten some value out of this content, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Of course, you can book your own analysis just like this. My contact information and the link to my price list is below. Check out my astrology videos. Again, this is practical. I have more practical videos. I have a couple about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt and Jennifer. There's so many Jennifers. Aniston, and also Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow. A little lot about Brad Pitt, because many people think that he has many twin flames. And then Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner. The one about Prince, Meghan and Harry is extremely interesting. I don't think that they're twin flames, spoiler alert, but I think this is absolutely fated, and I think that she came into his life and was absolutely predestined to carry out one of his destinies. If you want to look at that, that one had me in awe. I thought it was really, really interesting. But yes, if you already got some value, please help me grow my channel. Every like and every comment helps. So let's see how they influence each other. This is what we're going to do in the Synastry chart. We're going to check their aspects that imply fate or a long-lasting connection, because twin flames, you all know, they are extremely fated, and of course they can last a lifetime after they have done a shadow work, not before. So here we've got their Synastry chart, and there is a lot of stuff going on. One thing that jumped at me, that was the very first thing, is actually this little thing here, those things here. This one, the VX, is called a vertex, and the vertex is something that is kind of like the ascendant. It's a mathematical point. It's nothing that is really up there in the heavens, and the vertex is connected to fate. Here, her vertex, it doesn't do anything, as you can see. It doesn't form any connection, but that doesn't matter, because his vertex, by the way, she is blue, he is orange. His vertex does something, and his vertex is connecting her Pluto, which can talk about transformation. So this was fated to bring some kind of transformation, even though it's not very easy in this connection. And also it's not too far from the South Node, and the South Node also can talk about some kind of meeting from a previous life. So yes, fate, we do have one aspect of fate already, and then we do have another one here, because we see his South Node on her moon. And I have to say, for me personally, it does not matter if there is a personal planet, especially the moon is like the strongest one we have, connected to the South Node or the North Node. I know some astrologers, they say, oh, it's not a good thing when it's connected to the South Node, it's a good thing when it's connected to the North Node. I don't see it like that at all, because the South Node can talk about past lives, karma, where we're coming from, and the North Node is going to be like dharma, where we're going to. But who says that you cannot meet somebody from the past and take them to your future? You absolutely can. So to me, it doesn't matter if it touches the South or the North Node. It is talking to me about some kind of destiny. It does not mean automatically they will stay in your life for forever, but it shows that it was not coincidence, it was fated. But another thing that I don't like to see at all, we've got her moon, and you see the red lines, and even if you don't know astrology, maybe you can already guess red is not too good. They're squares, and squares are the most complicated connections we have. Squares can be overcome. A square is karma. Okay, a square, we can say it like this, is karma, it's a blockage, it's a problem. It is nothing that is set in stone. I do have a video that is called Alchemize Your Connection and Turn a Square into a Trine. Already said trining, we do have this big blue line here. Trines are the most harmonious connection. A square is karmic. And unfortunately, we've got his Pluto, which is another aspect of karma. Pluto, I do have a video on Pluto in Divine Counterpart Connections. Pluto is a double-edged sword. I like Pluto. Pluto is talking about healing and transformation. So in a true twin flame connection, of course, we do have Pluto connections, because they come to transform your life. But Pluto is also karma. It is extreme. It's either really good or really bad. There is no in-between with Pluto. It is the black and white. So it's not all bad, but it's not all good either. It depends on what kind of relationships it has in this connection. His Pluto is in a bad relationship with her moon, and that's a bad thing, because the moon is our most vulnerable aspect. It's our soul, it's our deepest emotion. Also, Pluto is talking about our deepest emotions. The moon can be a little bit more conscious. Pluto is even more hidden. Pluto is also where we have been really hurt. As I said, the black and the white, right? And it can be really dark. Here, I like Pluto moon connections in twin flames or any kind of divine counterpart, because that shows me there is massive transformation going on. there is awakening, because Pluto is connected to spiritual awakening. It's the Scorpio when it's in low vibration, then it turns into the eagle when it's awakened, and then when it's ascended, it turns into the phoenix. So no other planet or sign, Pluto is connected to Scorpio, has the ability to rise from the ashes or to ascend as high as Pluto can. Pluto is coming from the deepest shadow into the highest light. That is Pluto. But here, it's blocked, which means the dark side of Pluto is activated, not the light side. And this is karmic. This is a karmic aspect. This here can be like, past life, and then we do have karma here. And then her moon is also forming a negative aspect to Mercury. And then Pluto is also forming a negative aspect to Mercury, which means in this connection they're called to change something about their thinking. And a problem I can see here, it can be a good thing but a bad thing. They do have this conjunction between Mercury, and Mercury is our communication, it's the way we think, which means they probably think a lot alike. That can be a good thing if you are a healthy thinker. If you have a healthy mindset and then you have somebody who's like you, that's amazing. But if you're maybe not very healthy when it comes to mental health, or maybe you're very radical, I'm not saying those people are like that. I don't know them. Okay, I don't know them. I have no idea. But let's say you are a negative thinker, and then you attract another person who is just like you. That's not a good thing. And with Pluto, the transformation being challenged when it comes to thinking, that can be something, it is something that can be overcome. But at the same time, if you would ignore this part here, this could be a good thing as well, because as I said, Pluto is transformation and healing, so it could bring a change and healing. And the opposition, unlike a square can be overcome, the opposition never, it will always stay, which means that they will always be called to change their way of thinking, to develop their way of communicating, to never stand still, because standing still can be toxic in this connection, because it is squaring her moon, her most vulnerable placement. So this could be again, I don't know these people, I'm just reading astrology. In some couples this could translate into not saying nice words to one another, or saying something that deeply hurts the other person, or that makes the other person feeling unsafe, because it's the moon, the moon wants to feel safe. It can be some challenging, also like being pulled down, because Mercury is also the mind, and if the mind is not healthy, this could be bad mental health, for example, and then the other person is not helping with that, because there is a block when it comes to healing. Can that be overcome? Absolutely. Always say astrology is like a blueprint. Okay, your soul chose that, and you attract somebody that is matching your frequency. So if you have something that is not healed, you would attract somebody you have squares with. Why? Because squares, it's triggering, it's mirroring, it shows you what is not healed. We don't like to see that, of course, but it's good for us, because when we are forced to look into what we have not healed, it can force us to do the healing work. And if you do that, you can overcome squares, but only if you actively do the work and you heal that stuff. What often happens is when we do the healing, these kind of connections, they break up. But we have free will. So if you can imagine staying with your person and your person growing with you, then only because that possibility, that timeline in this multiverse exists, and you can manifest that if you do the work. So this does not mean that they're doomed at all. This shows, there's karma, there's difficulties, there is a lesson, and it's not an easy lesson with this combination. It's not an easy lesson. Maybe it is easy in the beginnings. Often when we meet a divine counterpart, or a karmic even, if we meet a karmic, it is very harmonious in the beginning, and then it shifts. It has to be harmonious in the beginning. Imagine you attract somebody that is supposed to teach you a major lesson, and they trigger you on day one, there will not be a day two. You will immediately push that person out of your life because it's day one. They don't mean anything to you yet. So you have to form this connection where you do get close and you do develop love, and then it shifts, and then that person has the ability to trigger you, which again, it is something your soul wants, because your soul wants to grow and evolve and heal the shadows. Another thing this could be, and as I said, I'm not surprised if they think that they're twin flames, to be honest, because of the Pluto connection. Because here, this is love at first sight. This is one of the love. They have a couple of these. This is one of the love at first sight factors. You have this instant recognition. You have that here as well. You know, this is the recognition. I feel I know you from a past life. And then Pluto is also talking about past lives because it's connected to the 8th house, and the 8th house is also the house of karma and past lives. So this is what they bring to the table. Also, they have, look, her Mars is in his 8th house, which can also talk about not instant love, but instant attraction. It can bring the illusion of love at first sight, definitely. Strong sexual attraction, strong sexual chemistry, especially, of course, when we have Pluto connected to the Sun, the Moon, or Venus, and we do have a Pluto contact to the Moon. So this is a very intense connection, extremely, extremely, extremely intense. I don't know if it is healthy in all regards. If it isn't, as I said, they can still, when the mirroring comes, when the triggering comes, when they reach that phase, they can do the stuff and stay together if they want to. Why? Because one of the amazing aspects they have, and I wrote it down, nope, it's not, it's his Saturn here, is trining her Sun. And if we have Saturn connections between the other person's Sun, Moon, or Venus, this can talk about a long-lasting connection. Okay, Saturn is the planet of commitment. It's also one of the planets of karma. Just as I explained with Pluto, it depends on what relationships Pluto has. Here Pluto has a bad relationship with her Moon, so it's the dark side that is activated. Saturn is also the planet of karma, but it is also the planet of commitment. So if it's a positive connection, it's the commitment part that is switched on, or not so much the karmic part. However, with Saturn, yes, this is the chance for long-lasting connection. Does not automatically mean happy. Saturn doesn't say anything about, yeah, it's happy or not. It just super glues you together. It's worse if it would be a square, because then it would even more hint at a karmic connection you cannot get out, or you have difficulties getting out. This could be a little bit easier to get out if one of them decides to get out, because it's a trine. And trine, as I said, are the most harmonious. But with a trine, I would say, yes, he is very serious about her. He is the Saturn person. She's probably very serious about him as well. But Saturn is serious commitment. So if they commit also to do the work, they can clear this stuff here up. Something we do not want to see. So one thing we can see is her Sun, which is down here, is forming a square to his Mars. This can also talk about attraction at first sight. Mars is also our sexuality, and the Sun is something that is highlighted. You know, that is the think they're attractive. He likes her physically, and vice versa. They're attracted to one another. However, it's a square, and as I said before, squares are karma, and Mars is not just talking about sexuality, but also can be about aggression. So there could be some kind of aggressive behavior. I don't know him. It could be very watered down, because, you know, it's in Pisces. Pisces is not a very aggressive planet. It would rather be like passive aggressive, you know, like not saying nice stuff, which brings us back to here. But that is something that could be or lead to some kind of aggressive behavior. And also this highlights that they're very different, because the Sun, of course, is very fiery energy, and Mars is very fiery energy. And this is a mismatch when it comes to our fiery energy. So this could create conflict. Can it be overcome? Again, yes, a square can be overcome once you do the work. And it is a little bit watered down, because Taurus is not a very aggressive sign. I mean, it can be. Imagine, like, cows are really, or bulls, usually very, very gentle creatures. But then imagine a bull that is getting poked too much, not that gentle anymore, right? But usually it takes a while to really, pee off a Taurus, also Pisces. It's rather a passive aggressive energy. It's not a very openly aggressive energy usually, and it's in his 10th house, Capricorn, also an energy that is not getting mad easily. However, there could be some differences in the way we want to go ahead with our lives that they have to overcome. There's differences here. Another thing I do not like to see at all is that her Venus, here you see this, is forming a square to his moon, which is very similar to this. Here we do have the fiery energies, and here we have the emotional energies. This can be an emotional mismatch. You know, there's some squares that are worse than others. Squares I don't like is Pluto or Saturn squares to another person's personal planet, because those can be karmic aspects, and a square is karma as well. Especially Pluto or Saturn moon squares, I don't like to see them. Another thing I don't like to see very much is a square between somebody's Mars and moon, or conjunctions. I know that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have that. It's her Mars conjuncting his moon, and so even in astrology it shows that she's the aggressor, because the Mars person, in that case her, could harm the moon person. So that is something I don't like to see. Here with the sun it's not as bad, because you know it's not our most vulnerable placement, so she can fire back. But here we got the two emotional aspects, and they're a mismatch as well. So something I would not like to see is a moon Venus square. Can it be overcome? Yes, I do have a video on my Divine Counterpart playlist about Venus squares that, surprise, are not uncommon in twin flame connections or divine counterpart connections, because the divine counterpart is often different to what we expect. They're often not your usual type. They are your usual type when you learn to know their personality, but there's often differences like cultural differences, age gaps, class differences, that would say they're not your usual type, and you have to learn to overcome that. So Venus squares, for example, not uncommon. But I did say in that video what I don't like to see as much is Venus moon squares. Can it be overcome? Yes, but it would require a lot of communication. Thank God they can communicate with this aspect, because that is amazing communication, but they have to be careful not to communicate in a way that could be painful to the other person. Also, this is a karmic aspect. I already said that, and we would attract somebody we have a moon Venus square with if we do have emotional baggage. So we attract somebody to mirror our old wounds back to us, so we can overcome them, which of course does not feel good, but it is essential in order to heal it and overcome that. Also, this shows that they have different emotional needs. This shows more they have different needs when it comes to being outgoing and goals with their life maybe, and here it's different emotional needs. This already shows it's not really a twin flame connection. We do have karmic, a lot of karma stuff here. We do have several stuff that shows, yes, I understand why they're that attracted to one another, because this is fated, and this is going deep. As immediately when Pluto is involved, this is going deep. So what we do see here, however, is a good thing. We do have his Pluto, and it is trining her Venus. That's a good thing. This is also showing that there is strong emotion. Yes, there is real love. You know, some people confuse it when they hear karmic, and they think, oh, this is automatically very toxic. They have some toxic aspects here. That doesn't mean that the relationship has to be toxic. No, it depends on their maturity. If young people who have a lot of shadows meet and they have that, this could play out completely different as to two people who already know who they are and who have learned to deal with stuff. You know, they would act differently around one another. What we do see is another aspect that's talking about very strong sexual attraction, and it is his Pluto here contacting her Mars. This again, lust at first sight, strong sexual chemistry, strong sexual tension. So they probably have amazing sex, honestly. But twin flames have a very strong sexual attraction towards one another, so I'm not surprised at all that they think that it might be a twin flame connect. I mean, ultimately, who am I to say, right? I don't know those people personally. I don't know how they interact. I don't know if they are awakened, how their ascension is going. I don't know anything of that. I just know their charts. And based on their charts, I don't think they're twin flames, but I may be wrong. I said it in one of my videos, can a psychic determine a twin flame connection? And I said no to that, because that's a holy secret between two souls, and I believe no other third party can 100% determine that. I'm just talking about astrology, what I believe when it comes to astrology, and I don't think they're the twin flames. However, I do think that they are fated, or they're fated to meet. I don't know if they're fated to last a life, and nobody can say that because there's different timelines, and whereas in a couple of those timelines they are fated to stay together forever. If they can imagine to stay together for forever, then only because there are timelines where this already has been like that they stayed together for forever, and there's others where they don't make it. There is free will. There is free will. So it is our beliefs that is showing us will they stay together or not. Because in some timelines they do, in others they don't. There's not one time, there is not one universe, there's not one future, there's multiple futures that are right next to one another, and we all the time shift between those timelines, so they can make it work, absolutely. But they want to make it work, and they are committed to it. However, I don't see strong twin flame, also because you see Chiron here. This is his Chiron, and this is her Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, which means when we have Chiron connection, we come to heal each other. And twin flames, they usually have some pretty amazing Chiron stuff going on, because this is talking about, yes, we met, and then it did something to the other person and they healed their stuff. Pluto is very similar, as I already said. Pluto is about healing and transformation. So twin flames, they have amazing Pluto stuff going on. And if that is missing, it's not a twin flame connection, because this biggest purpose of twin flames is the inner journey, the healing, the ascension journey, and union is secondary. Union is important, of course, as well, but first it's the inner journey, and they don't have those aspects too much. But they've got a lot of strong sexual attraction, and again, love at first sight, that magnetism, that pull towards the other person, that probably instant soul recognition, especially with that here. So I'm not surprised at all. It's a very intense connection, very, very intense. And if they heal their baggage, yeah, then they can make it work, absolutely. Another thing, we were talking about some of the difficult stuff. Another thing I absolutely love to see between them is this here. We've got her sun and his moon, and they're forming a sextile. Already said that trines are the most harmonious connection. A sextile is half a trine, so it's not as strong as a trine, but it is extremely harmonious. It's often better if it would be vice versa, if it's the man's sun and the female's moon, because the sun is the male energy and the moon is the female energy, and this aspect is talking about support. So the sun person is often supporting the moon person. I've seen that there is an age gap of a couple of years, so she is the older one. Maybe she is teaching him some stuff or helping him as the more mature person. But this is usually, being very supportive. So this can water down some of that bad stuff. And as I always said, astrology is like a puzzle. You have to check the entire stuff, and they have some good stuff going on. Not a whole lot when it comes to their personal planet. Most of that is the generational planets, but we want to look more at the personal planets also. But yes, they do have some good stuff. Oh, I forgot to talk about this here. We were talking about that here. And about that, the nodes. Do I have another node? No, this is not doing anything, but this here. Look, we got the north node and the sun. His sun is conjuncting her north node, which is another aspect I can talk about. Fated, or he is supposed to be in her life. Also supposed to be in her life in the future. And again, we don't know how long that future is. We don't know because we don't know what timeline they choose. We don't know what timeline we choose. this is the more important, because every one of you who is watching this can choose a different timeline. So for some of you, you will end up the experience of them staying together, and some of you will make the experience that they don't stay together, because all of us exist multiple times. But this is another amazing aspect that shows, yes, this is a fated meeting. So they may be divine counterparts. We cannot label them. If we don't have a label like a soul twin, then it's usually a soulmate, because soulmates can have any energy. So I would say that they're strong soulmates, strong bond, strong soulmate bond. They have some karma to heal, but they get some good stuff going on as well. But I really like to see that, because that is watering down some of the negative stuff they have. Did we already talk about? Yes, we were talking about that. This can lead to power struggle as well, blocked healing. It's strong sexual chemistry, already said that, and love at first sight. Another thing that we do have here is her Jupiter on his Venus. This is like a very lucky placement. So he may feel very lucky that she came into his life. She probably did something for him. And by did something for him, I don't mean in that she like literally did something. It can be emotionally that she did something for him, that he feels very lucky to have her. Also, it can mean that this love can be abundant once they heal that stuff, because she has to, it's her lesson to make sure that her emotional needs are met. And if they're not met, she needs to learn to communicate. And this might be a problem because of the square, the communicating your emotional needs. But only if she learns to communicate her emotional needs, those squares can fall away, and she can finally have the transformation that she can have because of this. The opposition says, yes, you can have a transformation, but her lesson is to learn to communicate her emotional needs. That is what she needs to learn. He feels very lucky to have her. Then another thing that I saw is that we do have her Neptune here, and it is trining his Sun. And this is another thing that why I understand they think that it might be twin flames, because Neptune, I did a video about Neptune and Saturn. Be careful with Neptune connections. Yes, Neptune can talk about a higher love, but Neptune can also talk about illusion. So you have to have other factors that show you, is it more a higher love or is it illusion? And you have to have Saturn connections, because Saturn connection positive Saturn can ground the connection. Otherwise it might be just in your head and you can never get into a relationship with that person, because it's an illusion. Here it's a trine. Trine is a positive thing. It's not a square. A square or conjunction even, or the opposition, I would be more inclined to say, yeah, this might be an illusion. Here this shows, yes, they see that this is some kind of a higher love because of this connection between the Sun. Also, we do have Neptune. It's his Neptune that is trining her Mercury. There's too many lines, which can talk about some kind of telepathy. Higher soulmates and twin flames also, they can have some kind of telepathy. So that is something else that they may pick up, that they have telepathy. So another thing why I would understand why they would label this a twin flame connection. Another thing I already was talking about, the Sun, Pluto, Pluto. Oh no, this is his Pluto, where's her Pluto? The Pluto Sun. Oh, here we do have the Pluto Sun opposition. Another love at first sight factor. That's another love at first sight factor. Pluto Sun, also strong sexual chemistry. Intense sexual. This is what I see more than the true love. Yes, there is true emotions. But even more so, I see this strong magnetism, this sexual connection. But this can also cause some difficulties, because you are called to really heal and you are confronting each other's shadows. The opposition, of course, is not as easy as like a trine or sextile. But even like a Sun Pluto conjunction can be a bit harsh. I have that with my twin flame. We have an exact Sun Pluto conjunction at 9° Virgo. My Sun, his Pluto, not a factor of love at first sight, but you have to have a lot of positive stuff, otherwise it can be very, very intense, and it can be too intense. So let's see what else her Pluto is doing. I mean, it's doing this is a little bit harsh, but her Pluto is forming a good connection to Mars. Yeah, so this also says that instead of fighting too much, I already said it, like I can imagine fighting would be more like passive aggressive with his Mars in Pisces. This would also indicate that they don't fight too much. Fighting would be more like, when they fight, I see it more like bad communication, or they can drag each other down mentally. Like when it comes to mental health, they can drag each other down. This is more something I would see in here. But again, yes, I do think they have a very intense and strong soulmate connection. I understand why they would say that they're twin flames. I mean, we saw it earlier here. This part doesn't really say twin flames. It's fated, definitely. But we don't have the massive healing that a twin flame connection does bring. It's rather more difficult. It's some of the healing aspects are blocked. They have to work to overcome them. But let's get on. What's the energy of the relationship? The Composite chart, the third energy of birth chart of their relationship. And here you see it as well. Pluto is opposing so many of those planets. It's Mercury, the Sun, Jupiter, Venus. And also it's forming a square to Mars, and it is forming a square to Venus. Mars-Venus squares are not too bad in the Composite chart. My twin flame have that as well. That is bringing some friction. It can cause about amazing sexuality, or in other words, sex doesn't get boring. I don't think that it would lead to a lot of fighting, because we do have Aquarius, which is very, Aquarius energy doesn't like to fight. They're like above that. They're too good to fight, you know. And we got Taurus. As I said, it takes a while to really poke Taurus energy. So fighting would be more like, maybe like passive aggressive. But we do have, yeah, also this intense sexual connection. Intense sexual connection. I don't think there is a lot of fighting. If so, however, they have to be careful, because it could get into a toxic energy with this square if they're not careful. I don't think it's too bad because of the planets that are evolved. Even Scorpio energy, Scorpio takes a while to get mad as well. If Scorpio does get mad, then behold, because Scorpio, oof, you don't want to mess with a angry Scorpio energy person. But usually it is not that bad. However, we do see that they can undergo through a massive transformation. And this is meant to be, because Pluto, planet of healing and transforming, will always have their influence on their personal planets. Always, 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 always. That is nothing they will overcome. They will always have to grow. But Mars is not just sexuality and aggression, it's also taking action. And this taking action is a little bit blocked. So a difficulty I see in this relationship is that it is hard to, yeah, you know, it's more like you just try to sit things out and think, oh, it's going to get better. And they have difficulties communicating, as we saw in the other charts. Also here, it is blocking communication a little bit. So they have some kind of difficulty when it comes to taking action to really communicate what they need in order to be happy and transform. However, yeah, Mars Moon trine also talk about sexual connection. It's very sexual chemistry. This also says that if there is some kind of a fight, it doesn't have to get really bad, because a trine is very harmonious, which means that ultimately each other's emotions are important to them. We saw earlier that Megan has to learn to communicate her emotions, but I think if she does, it will be important to him to actually take in what she says. Yeah, I do believe so. I think it's important to him to take it in. I think this relationship is important to both, because we do have Saturn here, And also, of course, it's a public relationship. We have Saturn right on the MC, so they want to appear also as a couple that is meant to last. Saturn, the MC is our public persona, and there are celebrities, and they want to show that this is a very serious connection. It's important to them. We do have Saturn trining the Sun over here, and this is again showing we want commitments. And this is also showing that they have the ability to stay together for a life if they do the work. They have to overcome something here, because again we do see squares, and again Pluto is involved, but I don't like too much. Mars is involved, but I don't like too much. We see none of the nodes here are attached, which can say yes, maybe they're not fated. Again, in some timelines they are fated, not in all of them. Okay, this would say not fated, but they can make it work. We do have Chiron, nothing doing here, so this would also be healing, transformation. And Pluto that wants to transform has difficulties to really... This would not be bad. The opposition would not be bad at all. It's this I don't like. It's forming like this triangle. This is what I don't like. This means they have to learn to take action. They have to learn to not just talk it out. They have to learn to really do something. And then this can last. Because they wanted to last. They wanted to last. Their real emotion, strong sexual attraction. And it's something that they can make work. So we do have stuff that is talking about long lasting. But it's more like open on how fated it is. It's basically their choice. It's their choice. Do we fight for this if troubles come up? Or do we fight each other? Do we fight for the connection, or do we fight each other? Do we learn to express our emotions or not? That is what they will have to learn. So how does the relationship influence them individually? The composite chart compared to their birth charts. So we have the composite chart here as well. So this is Megan Fox's birth charts. It says Megan Fox because we got his as well, but this is the composite. What I'm doing here is I'm taking some of the planets. For example, the Sun, you see it is here. It is at about 12 degree Taurus, which means it would be like here, conjunct to Mercury. Yeah, so this is interesting because this relationship is forcing her to shine a light on the way she thinks and communicates. And we saw earlier this is a blockage. And you see, even in her birth chart, it's a blockage to express her emotions. It's not easy for her to express her emotions. And now she attracted someone where this is blocked as well, because she probably hasn't learned it before he came. And so he came to mirror her that. And this connection is shining a light on that. So she has the ability to do something about that. Also, of course, the Sun would be conjunct to her Sun, which is a beautiful thing. That also means that she kind of like defines herself through this connection. She feels proud of this connection. She likes this connection to be somewhat public and to be seen with him, with the Sun. Let's see if it would form any conjunction, any oppositions. Nope. Would it form any trines? No, not here. So that would be a Sun-Mars trine. And that would again highlight the strong sexual connection, the Sun and the Mars. But she's got a Sun-Mars trine in her birth chart as well. So that is something that seems to be important to her, which is, of course, absolutely fine. Would the Sun, if it were here, form any squares? Yeah, like to the Moon. This is not too good. So in this relationship, she really has to learn that she's getting the support, the emotional support she needs. Because this connection, if the Sun were here, it would form a square to her Moon, which means some kind of support is blocked. She has to learn to demand it. Demand is not a good word, but to get it, to say that what she wants. Here she is really getting triggered. Another thing could be, since they're both celebrities, there could be a little bit of like a combative nature, like who's I don't know if they are like on social media. I'm just making something up, like who's got more likes, who is more well seen, who is more successful. That could be like something where they're where she in this connection has to learn to make peace with, because that is something that could get triggered here. And again, she needs to learn to accept support. Would it form a square here? Nope. And let's do the same with the moon. The moon would be here in Gemini, about 5 degrees, which would be here. It's very weak. I wouldn't say that it is a conjunction. Would it form an opposition? Yes, to Saturn. So she wants the stability. It's kind of like not just wanting. I feel she kind of like needs the stability from this connection. That is something that's important to her, to get this kind of emotional stability. And maybe she is not always too sure whether or not she has it with the opposition, even though a moon Saturn opposition, I don't see it as a bad thing as well. Many couples have that. So she is very, very, very serious. She wants this connection to last. So does he, which is amazing. As I said, if they really want it to last, they just have to put in the effort once problems come up. So this is really craving this commitment. Then again, if her moon would be here, would it form any trines? Not to here and not to here. Would it form any squares? Not to here, which is good, and not to here. Let's do the same with Venus. Venus, of course, would be important. Venus is in Taurus, 5 degrees over here. So this would form a weak conjunction, but it would form a conjunction to her North Node, which tells us again, yeah, this connection was important to get into her life. Here we don't know if it's meant to last. As I said, it is free will. In some timeline, it has always lasted, in other it won't. But this was important for development because, again, I think she is called to learn to express herself more emotionally. So when we were talking about Venus here, would it form, oh yeah, look, it would form an opposition to Pluto. Not too bad. I like the opposition. This relationship is really forcing her to transform when it comes to something in her love life, when it comes to receiving love, when it comes to healing old wounds in love. And that may take a while. Since it's an opposition, it means constant growth. It's not a cycle that will be completed. Like a square, you can complete the cycle. The opposition is cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle. So this relationship can bring some healing to her. And again, we do see strong sexual attraction. We do see strong magnetic attraction and strong love. Venus is the planet of love, and Pluto is the planet of the strongest possible emotions. As we said, it's the dark is dark and the light is light. So there is true love here. Absolutely. She feels true love in this connection. Even though there may be difficulties and her needs are not always fulfilled, she does feel it is true love. So Venus again would be here. Would it form any trines? Not to here. Yeah, it would form a trine to her Neptune, which again would highlight that feeling of this is a higher love. This is some kind of transcendental love. So yeah, there may absolutely be divine counterparts. I'm using the umbrella term. I don't think they're twin flames, but twin flame is just one form of divine counterparts. There's different form of divine counterparts. A twin flame, what's different about them is the massive spiritual awakening. Not all divine counterparts have this massive spiritual awakening. No, there is other divine counterparts. I think that, yeah, they feel that this is divine counterparts, and again, this does not surprise me why they would label it a twin flame. I think there may be divine counterparts, and they can make it work if they do the work. Would we have any squares? Not here and not here. Good. Let's check the node. The node is in Pisces over here. It's like 20-ish degree. Yeah, it's conjuncting her north node. So in this connection, she feels like she can get very lucky. She can grow. So this is something amazing. She feels like she's growing, or maybe she is growing in this connection. I wish that for her, because I wish for her that she learns to communicate her needs, and then this could be something really amazing that they do have. Do they have any positions? No. If the north node would be here, wouldn't do. Yeah, it would be like conjuncting her descendants, which also this descendant means just, yeah, she attracted him. Descendant is like the U house. It's what do we attract, or whom do we attract. No, it would not trine her Saturn, but with trining it Uranus is sudden change. Changes, awakening, reminds me of the Tower in Tarot. New way of thinking. So if she opens up to a new way of thinking, then this could actually work. Let's check out, last but not least, Pluto, because Pluto was a little bit blocked. It's here at like 11ish degree. It's right on her midheaven. If she's transforming, she's going to do it very publicly. She wants to portray this as a very sexual or hot connection. She wants to show this as a very deep soul connection. She wants to show the world basically that it is very deep, because Pluto, again, deepest emotions. Would it form any... yeah, it will have to change the way she thinks. I'm sticking to that. It can transform her. Not easy, but it can. Yeah, Pluto is squaring her moon. Another karmic aspect. This is, yeah, highlighting the karmic aspect. Don't worry, divine counterparts can have karma and then clear it. That's why sometimes they have some have running, chasing. Not all of them have to run. I mean, I don't know if they came together right away or if they had some stuff, but this is another thing that would highlight there is some kind of karma that needs to be healed and then can be turned into a divine counterpart connection. Is there anything else? I want to look at Saturn. Saturn would be right here. Is Saturn opposing anything? Yeah, Saturn, Venus, she wants this long-lasting relationship. Definitely with Saturn opposing Venus, the Venus opposition, but remember, it's not a bad opposition. Saturn, Venus is something we see, oppositions is something we see in long-lasting relationships. So this is the desire. She is working, or she really wants to have this serious commitment. So we have that doubled here, and I repeat myself again, they can have it if they do the work. So let's do the same with him. So the Sun in Taurus would be at, how many degrees did we say? Maybe like 12ish here. It's not really conjuncting his Sun, but it's conjuncting his Mercury. So it is highlighting the way he thinks. He has to maybe learn to think in a different way. It is highlighting something when it comes to his thoughts. Maybe, I don't know if his thoughts were not in a very healthy way. There may have been some kind of delusional thinking, even though it's a trine to Neptune, but we do have the opposition to Pluto. So he may be a very radical thinker, maybe very black or white thinker. You know, if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, it's not good at all. Because Pluto, I said it, is radical, is black or white. So maybe he has like phases where he's like really, really positive, and then phases where he's really, really negative, and this relationship would shine a light on that. The Sun, if it would be here, would be conjuncting Pluto. Again, love at first sight, deep soul bond. He felt something here, and it is causing a transformation in his emotional state as well. It wouldn't form any trine to a personal planet, nope, here, but we have the Sun and Neptune, which can form one of illusions, but yes, he feels like this connection maybe is like a little bit too good to be true and is a higher love. That's what he thinks about it. I mean, he wrote a song Twin Flame, so this is not surprising. Would the Sun, if it were here, form any squares to the North Node? And if it's a square to the North Node, automatically it's a square to the South Node as well. Yeah, some kind of... It's the same thing over and over. They're called to transform, and maybe they're transforming in some aspects, and some aspects may be easier for them to transform, but then they're holding each other back in other aspects. So this is like a double-edged sword, basically. It's like a karmic aspect. I cannot put it in another word. It's there's some kind of karma here that is keeping them stuck, and they have to overcome it in order to have this turn into a long-lasting relationship. I mean, they're still together, so I hope they make it work if they love each other, you know. And love is there. I truly believe that. So the moon in Gemini 5 degree would be here. It would be in his 12th house. Another reason why he thinks that this is a higher love, a transcendental love. The 12th house is the house of Neptune and Pisces, where we feel this higher frequency love, and it's something he wants. And since it's conjuncting, it's not in his first house, so it's a little bit different, but it is conjuncting his rising sign, so he kind of wants to define himself through this relationship. Then at the same time, it's not doing anything here. Would it form any trine? Not here, not here. Weak one to the North Node, so he feels like his emotional the emotions in this connection, it's something he would like to take into the future. Has to do work though with the sun, you know. There is like a little bit of a mismatch. It's like with the sun and the moon, one squaring, one trining, the same thing. It really depends on how we go about it. The sun can be like more, a little bit about our action and what is more conscious because the light is shining on, and the moon is a little bit more like subconscious. So the problems that are there may be more like of ego problems and not so much of soul problems. It may be like, yeah, really like an ego thing that they have to clear. Let's talk about Venus. Venus is here at 5 degree Taurus, which would match his sun. Yes, there is love. He loves this connection. He feels loved in this connection. It's not really doing anything here. Would it form a trine? Nope. And yeah, again, with Neptune and Uranus, they have to do some sudden change, and it is felt as some kind of transcendental. Yeah, I do believe that they're strong soulmates. I do believe they have a strong soul bond. I repeat myself, I know, because they have different factors highlighting this over and over and over and over again, as well as they have factors that highlight karma over and over and over and over again. So there's some amazing stuff they have, and there's some difficult stuff they have, and that is why I'm because it's really repetitive when it comes to their charts. Let's check out the North Nodes here. It is in Pisces, would be like here. The North Node, yeah, it's kind of like conjuncting his Venus. So what we were talking about Pisces here. It is not opposing anything. If it were here, it would not do anything to here. Chiron. Oh, wait, do we have a Chiron thing at last? What was it? Was it the North Nodes that is like here? Yes. Look, here we finally have like a Chiron connection. The first one that we see is that it's not strong enough to be a twin flame, to be honest. But this shows like, yes, we can heal each other. There is something good, at least he feels it. And it can heal him for some kind of, you know, prepare him for his journey in the future. What else do we have? Do we have trining energy here? Well, Pluto, so this is good. This is good. Because again, he is willing to do some transformation. It's not always easy in this connection. It takes two. It takes honest communication. But he is willing to do it. Because this connection is very important to him. And I like to see that. Saturn would be over here. Not doing anything here. Yeah, it's his Jupiter. It's like he feels he wants to grow in this connection. For like long lasting. It's not trining anything really here. It's not. Well, look, Saturn is trining his sun. Another amazing thing. He is serious about this connection. He sees this connection as one that can last. Well, at least at some point. I don't know what's going on right now, but at least this is how he feels or felt. So yes, again, Saturn, I love Saturn. They can make it work. Because the intentions are there. The seriousness is there. Is there anything else I want to look at? I think we've been through all of these. So yeah, that was a long one. And I'm a bit tired now, to be honest. And it's the second time I recorded this. if you liked it, subscribe for more information on the subject. There will be more videos like this. Please leave your comments. What do you think? So to sum it up, I believe, yes, very strong soul connection, very, very strong soul connection. I'm not surprised they think it is twin flames, because they have some of this transcendental love. We do have the strong sexual magnetism. We do have the love at first sight. So the intensity that is very close to a twin flame connection is there. What's missing and typical for a twin flame connection is the ascension and healing. That part is a little bit more blocked for them. They can overcome it. But as I say always, twin flames, it's an ascension journey, and then it is union. I believe that they can be divine counterparts if they clear the karma. There is some karma there. The karma is most likely connected to her emotional needs, because it was her moon, and it was connected to both of their Mercury, so communication, and it was connected to Pluto. Pluto is healing and transforming. So that is something that needs to heal. That was like the biggest issue I saw. That was a square I didn't like. And then we had these squares between the Sun and Mars and Venus and Venus and the Moon, which shows us they have some differences. However, in the first part of this video, we saw that they have some amazing energies when it comes to understanding each other's, because in many things they are somewhat alike. So when they are mature enough, they can absolutely overcome this, but they need to learn to really, really communicate, and something that they can learn because of the amazing conjunction between both of their Mercuries. So are they staying together? Nobody can tell you that. I believe in some timelines they will stay together, and others they won't, because of the difficulties. Because we do have free will, and but it's a strong connection, definitely a strong fated connection. And I don't know these people. I wish them all of the best, because this world needs healed people. Doesn't matter if twin flame or not. This world needs people who heal their shadows, and then who are good to other people, and who lead by example. And they're celebrities. And celebrities, in my opinion, have an even bigger responsibility when it comes to lead by example and to be kind to others. Everybody has that responsibility, by the way, to be kind to others. But celebrity, they do have, they lead by example. So even if they think they're twin flames, and I don't think they're not, as I said, I might be wrong. Who am I to know? I'm an astrologer. I don't think they are, because they don't have all of the typical stuff. But who am I to know, right? It's for them, not for them to decide, because that is nothing the ego can decide, but it's for them to find out. And even if they're not twin flames and they think they're twin flames, there is no harm done, as long as they're good to one another. There would only be harm done if it would turn into a toxic situation. And then people will think, oh, twin flames are toxic, and then that could actually harm the community. That could harm other people who are on this journey, who take them as examples, or other people who are in toxic relationship and think that's okay because those people are celebrities and they are toxic twin flames. So then there could be harm done. But if they stay together, if they work on their stuff and they're not twin flames, but they think there are no harm done, let them think that. Let them be happy. And I hope they are happy, and I hope they spread this happiness to all of the people around them and to all of their fans. And let's spread the love, right? And if you want to have more of my love, you can reach out for personal coaching for an astrology reading, or check out my other content, because I am here as well to help you on your journey. And it is my mission to bring as many twin flames into union as I can by, first of all, what I say is no third party can ever confirm if it's a twin flame or not. I'm doing this because I do have a lot of experience. I would say I do have a lot of knowledge. Do I know everything? Nobody knows everything, right? And I want to provide you with information that I personally have researched the heck out of it. I have channeled spirits for almost 2 decades now. I have talked to over 20,000 clients So I have gathered a lot of information, and I want to put it out there for other people. And then you can take my information and you see if it resonates with you or not. And maybe it helps you to discern whether or not you are on a twin flame connection. It's not for me to decide that for you. I'm just putting out information based on my research, my knowledge, my beliefs. And if you resonate with that, good. If not, then good. Then there are other people you will resonate with. That's amazing that there are so many people out there. And I just want to help many people to find out what they're dealing with. But even if it's not a twin flame, doesn't mean that it's not perfect. The label ultimately doesn't matter. The label is important to see what you're dealing with, because that can help you on the journey. And most important, if people are stuck in toxic connections and then they put the wrong label on it, that's a bad thing. That is why I do label connections, not because one is better than the other, but most likely to tell people this is not a twin flame if it's toxic in any way. But as I said, if people are happy and they're not twin flames, but they think they're twin flames, let them think so. I wouldn't want to take away from them, not at all. This is not my mission. My mission is to give you information so that you have more information to listen to your own inner instincts. See what my information does to you. Does it feel right or not? Or do you get triggered? If you get triggered, it's most likely because I'm right. And you don't want to hear it. But because if you don't resonate, then you're staying cool and you're just like, oh, this is not for me. Usually we only get triggered if it's bullseye and we don't want to see it. But anyway, yes, I hope you're all well. I love all of you and I wish you all the best, and I see you in another video. And now bye bye.